Hey, good morning, dailies. I forgot to do something. I better go do that. I remembered what I had to do. Shave. It's bugging me, so I had to go do it. Today, I am going to show you some stuff that I have been working on, and, well, it's been taking up a lot of my time, so I have to show you. If you're not really interested in watching about my cosplay stuff and my Boba Fett costume from Star Wars, well, that's okay. You can just move along to the next video. I forgive you. Here we go. And my helmet, otherwise known as my bucket, the Boba Fett helmet. This is the one from the Empire Strikes Back Hasbro electronic helmet, and I've had a mess over it over the years, and I never really done anything to it, left it as it originally was. So you can see the beige on the side by the antennas on both sides there, and I had stickers put on it and holes drilled in it and all that kind of thing. So I decided to change it and still go with the Return of the Jedi colors, which is gray and silver on the side, not beige. I did tweak it all up. There's more scorch burns and all that kind of stuff on the side. Removed all the stickers, cleaned it all up, and man, it looks superb. I also installed a ear fan in the lower front to suck in ear and pull it out and throw it against my face when it's on. And it's a little 12-volt fan running by the 9-volt, and it works fantastic. It really pushes the ear out and is going to keep my face. Also, you can see up in the visor there's some electronics. That is a bicycle light that flashes back and forth in different patterns. I have that there as a scanner in my visor. Way up top I have another circuit with the white wire comes out to the right and down through the side. That goes to the rangefinder on the outside, which when it is flipped down activates a switch and turns on the flashing LEDs within that. That's going to be changed a little bit eventually when I get some more time to put a servo in there on the inside, which will be controlled by another Arduino in there. Off to the right, I've got the 9-volt battery pack and the 3-volt battery pack for the bicycle light in the visor. So there's lots of room to add some great stuff in there. I tried to put in some speakers. Actually, speakers are in there for my phone and possibly hearing an outside conversation, so I'll have to put a microphone in there because sometimes hearing what's around you is kind of hard to hear in that helmet. So we're going to rectify that eventually as well too. Shoes. Oh, glorious shoes. Well, they're boots supposedly, but I couldn't find a pair of my size, so I bought a pair of black shoes over at Walmart several years ago. I spray painted them gray and used some 3D black paint to do the outlines with, and then the laces were giving me problems, so then I leave them so I can lace them up, but I actually glued on some black felt across the top just so you wouldn't see the laces, and it works out really well. Bent some metal for around the toes, hot glued that on and put some screws in. It's been hot glued on for about 3 years now, and it keeps falling off every year, guaranteed, just from walking and banging around. So I put the screws into it this year, fixed them all up, and put the dart tips on the front of them because I had solid pieces that kept breaking off. Now I just use some EVA foam, cut it and glue them on, and it bends. That's okay. Next up is the left arm bell. And what I did before is had the white background and sort of a rose color Mandalorian skull. Although the Mandalorian skull I had on there, I believe was the Empire Strikes Back one. So I had to put on the Return of the Jedi one to correspond with the colors and codes of the Return of the Jedi suit. So recut that out of vinyl on the Cricut, and also the white background as well because I had originally cut it out by hand and it was a little bit off. Now this one here fits perfect. It looks not centered, but it actually is. It's just the curvature in that particular piece of plastic in the bell there. Although the skull itself went on just a hair, maybe 1 degree, 1.5 degrees crooked. But it's so intricate to get on there. I didn't try to peel that back off and put it back on because it is permanent vinyl.
So it turned out pretty well, and I'm pleased with it, so I don't think there's going to be too many faults about it. Anyway, we do this for fun anyway, so we shouldn't really criticize ourselves now, shall we? But guess what? We do. We do criticize ourselves in building these costumes at every step of the way.
What I did was heat it up with a little blowtorch and then pressed it in with a hammer, and it makes it look like the armor has been scorched and dented. Just a little handheld torch that I keep in the truck. Almost get windy out there. For melting the ice on the door locks. So just a little tri-torch. Gets very hot very quick. And that's able to get that in there. And now I'm just going to respray that silver, and then from that I'll put the top coat on after I grease that area with butter, so that when we wipe it off, the silver shows through and the top coat stays on. Now, after the wind stops blowing, we took butter and put butter on our spots over the silver where we don't want the yellow-orange paint to stick. So that's like a release, and once we spray paint that, we just wipe it off and the silver shows through. Same as what we did to the helmet.
And a good photo prop, which I decided to build, was the Imperial Force Binders. And here it shows the Arduino, which I used to program the light sequencing on it. They are the LEDs with the resistors, and that's built right in the front there, and you can see them running there in a chase pattern back and forth and up and down to simulate your life status once the binders are joined together and your hands are in the binders like handcuffs, I guess you want to say. So basically it checks your life force and makes sure that you are all right while you are in detention. I finished them off and painted them all white, and they look superb. They look great. Gonna unveil them this week coming up, and we'll definitely have some pictures and video of that. This was a fun little build to do. Took me about 2 days to do it, and I used some PVC pipe, 3-inch PVC pipe for the actual cuffs, cut them down to size, split them up the middle, and then put hinges on the back side, and then just added some foam insulation inside to keep your arms from scraping up type of thing on the rivets and on the hinges. And then I put some EVA foam blocks on the outside, and two of them which I encapsulated the LEDs. And I also have now rare earth magnets in the front to close them and keep them closed. And I also have the trigger magnet, so when they do close, they will turn on and off the lights. So the lights will actually be powered on by the switch magnet in the front. Here is the finished product of the Imperial Force Binders. You see I've added some labels on there. It says Detention Block 2551. That's an Easter egg out of the movie. I'll let you guys use your great Scooby-Doo detective skills, and you will find out exactly where that came from and where these cuffs came from, or binders came from. Anyway, like I said previously, you can see the magnet here, and there's one hiding behind here, rare earth magnet, with a little piece of tin cut out from a tin can on the other side here, just so when they click together, they stay together. And it takes a little bit of force to get them open, but that's okay. These are also magnets I used here. This was just for cosmetic purposes on this side to be similar to the left side, because the left side I have the magnet here, and this one is the reed switch, which runs into the through the block here actually and out to the battery, and lets the battery turn on the Arduino. Otherwise, the battery would always be on, the Arduino would always be powered up, and I could have the switch trigger the Arduino to turn the lights on once these close, but I figured I'd do it this way and I can get some more life out of my battery all day long type of thing. So
we'll close them. Without further ado, I added this piece of foam in the center of both of them. Once again, both sides, just for, cosmetic. And you don't see the gap with the magnet in between. So when you come close, the magnet on this side closes the reed switch here, turns on the battery, and starts the Arduino. And there we go. So, that being said, you can see that in proximity, because it is not closed yet, where the switch triggers on. Right there, and it's not closed. Because I got my finger down by the magnet and it's not closed yet. Kind of close, but not. This little piece of foam here covers that over, but then that'll turn that on and off. So cleverly, I didn't know where to put the 9-volt battery because my initial design was to put it in this container in the middle with the Arduino. But when I added all the wires onto the Arduino, it caused me a headache because there wasn't that much room in there to add the battery. If I went bigger, then things just didn't look in proportion in the middle here. So what I decided to do was put the battery pack on the back. So then I had to make a little battery holder, just those some craft foam, just fits it in nice and snug. Make a little top on there, glued that on with a little strap around the side, just to keep the battery intact. Made it out of white, so you don't notice it. It could have came up the sides a little more, but it's okay, it's in the back side of it anyway. That's about it. If you're wondering what this centerpiece is, it is a pill bottle, and one end of it, which is, I'm going to say this end, it is not glued on. This is a top off a second pill bottle of the same, glued on to the bottom, just to give similar ends. And I wanted a pill bottle. Now these are bolted on through each side. And I wanted a pill bottle so I can do this with it. Turn it, pop it open, get into the circuit in the Arduino right there. It's the USB port to program it. So if I want a different light sequence or upgrade it, I can certainly do it right there. Now you can see there is room in there, and the battery will fit in there, but with all those wires in there, it won't on this one. So that is okay. It would have if the wires weren't in there, but kind of need the wires. So we're just gonna stick it back together there, and there we go. But that was, like I said, my initial plan, so that I could get in there, have the battery in there, reprogram it, and do everything just off the whim right there, and you wouldn't see it outside. It's okay. It's sort of a prototype. I know there's other force binders out there that people have. However, they never really showed any lights or anything like that in it, so that's why I did it this way, and wanted to be a little different. And feel free to go ahead and add lights to yours, and let me know in the comments down below if you did. I'd really like to look at them. So first up is the right-sided arm gauntlet. And what I did was extended this piece of dowel out here and added new fittings on here for the air hose. Now these are air hose fittings, and according to movie reference, these are the proper fittings for this. I went and did a lot of digging and found this out, and had to make new ear hose for them. And that is around somewhere. Oh yes, it's being flattened out. I'll grab that in a second. And there are the hoses right there. I had to sit them there to flatten out a bit, and now they're nice and flat. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to attach them onto there so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so that's what one looks like onto the air hose right there. And I'm not going to put the other ones on. I got to do some more adjustments. I see that they're seizing up a little bit, so I'm going to drill the holes out just a little bit more, because I don't like things that are really too tight on that, and if I have to get them off in a hurry. But I don't want them to the point that they fall off either. They sort of touched up some stuff on this one. That's my left gauntlet. That's not too bad. Had to make a new pair of gloves, so basically got a pair of cotton garden gloves because I wanted something very breathable because I find it very hot inside. Even outside, I used to have fingerless gloves, but I wanted to get some crochet gloves or something like that. So I found these garden gloves, and then I took some felt, did all the stitching around the felt, and I could never figure a way how to sew them on to the gloves because, well, I'd sew right through them both sides, knowing me. So I just crazy glued them on. That didn't really work, so then I used hot glue. Hot glue worked well, and it's holding all the parts and pieces onto the gloves, and they look really good. So there you go. That's like under $2 investment, those gloves right there. Going to the Jetpack. Added on some more symbols up here according to the proper coloring and whatnot. The beacon light works. It fades up and then it fades down. That's using an Arduino controller as well. I'll see if I can get that going in just 1 second here. And this is some kind of an adjustment tool or something that is on the backpack. I just made that out of some foam and dowel. That was never there before, so that had to go on. See if we can get that beacon light working. And there is the beacon light fading up and down. Just a diffused white LED, and it's hooked up to an Arduino just to fade up and down. And the effect is really cool. So that should run a long time, and it shouldn't really drain the battery that much. Now my backpack is unique in a way because I built this probably 4 years ago or more. So basically it is made mostly out of cardboard. There's a little bit of foam, cans on the side for the boosters. There's some spray foam in there to keep it solid. But the back, this is how I get into the light. Just pops open like that, and the rocket pack, or the rocket on the top, breaks down, fits in here, and the side boosters also pack in here, which were made out of Coke bottles. That's a Coke bottle, and off to the left, the part that points down that the flame and smoke supposed to come out of, that is a Renews It air freshener. So basically I just got everything to pack in there. Oh, there's the battery in there, the 9-volt battery. I gotta get him out of there. That was controlling the Arduino, which is just sitting down in there. You can see him down in there. He's just very small. Doesn't take up much room at all. So this thing is crazy, but it packs just so. Tip of the washer there. And there's how it all packs in the backpack. Okay. That velcros across the back of it. At one time I had a strap made with opposite handles like I have on the back of my suit, so that I could just carry this as a backpack. Carry it with a handle like a little bag. So it's a pretty unique little portable jetpack. And I actually, it's kind of funny. There was a costume contest a few years ago at a place, and everyone got an award for originality for different things. And mine was for most portable. Now we're going to just move on to the main suit. You can see where I did the decal there. I did a video on that before, and the digital display on the front, which I did a video on. And I'm just going to reach inside now and turn that on because it is here somewhere. There it is. So you can see what it looks like now. I didn't have it installed before and didn't get any video after I installed it, so this is it right here. And of course the suit was repainted to the Return of the Jedi colors and burn specks, which I call them, were the burn marks on the armor. But I love that digital display. That really upped the suit a lot this year. And now, the final parts I have done are the knees. Yeah, you see them there in silver, and here they are, finished off with dart launchers on the sides and everything. The final scorch marks. I'm going to try to get one in some light here. The detail really worked out well using that butter over the silver and then wiping down the orange, and of course also using the blowtorch on it really finished it off. And a little bit of PVC pipe and a piece of Lego up there. Just some Velcro on the back to keep them on your knees. So that would be the right one, and here is the left one. Once again, that's not painted on, that's actually burned in there. And a friend of mine came over the other night and he was like, holy shit, wow man, that is like high quality stuff you got going on there. That is really cool. So you know, that made me feel really good to know that I'm producing something really well done. That made me feel good. But like I said, we do it for fun. When it comes to the point of no fun anymore, then there's no sense doing it.